Hey guys, SW Collector 1 here. So I'm actually doing two videos in one day, which I can say is probably more than I've done in a very long time. My last one was the Ray Island Journey figure, and in there I mentioned that I also managed to pick up the Imperial Royal Guard, who is just, the character itself is just really cool, especially in the movies when you just see this stark red character on the Death Star and kind of wonder what is he and everything. You don't really get to see much in the movies, which kind of sucks, but the characters themselves are just really cool visual images. So when I saw this guy in store, I decided there's no choice, I gotta pick him up and do a review. So just give a quick look at the box, which is your standard Star Wars The Black Series box. Here we go here, your typical red box. And then just some verbiage on the back, which if my camera adjusts, you guys could pause or to read or whatever. I'm pretty sure everyone knows, has read multiple versions of what these boxes are. The one thing I will point out, and I'm pretty sure I've seen it on some other YouTube videos as well for this figure, I know a lot of people complain about the design of the Black Series box with the red background. I'm not a huge fan, but I'm especially not a fan with this character. Only because it doesn't pop out in the box. It's one of those figures that honestly should be taken out to display, just because the red on red, it doesn't do it any service. So I personally think with this it should have been a black background, but that's my opinion. If this came out in the old orange line or blue line, I think the figure would pop a lot more in the box. But regardless, what can you do? So I'll just slide this box over here and just keep that going. Just move my camera in a little closer and we can take a look at the Imperial Royal Guard. So honestly, kind of conflicted on this figure. So just like this, he looks cool. I believe, in my opinion, he is kind of suffering from the issues that plagued the first version of Darth Vader from the Black Series with that insanely long cape. Kind of the problem I really feel like with the guard here. Granted, it does layer itself really well, and it looks good when you're standing him up and he's holding his staff, which I think it looks really neat. But like, I'll just show you here, like, seriously, this is a little much, I think. Oops. For a figure, I feel like they could have really scaled down a lot of the soft goods that they use on this, and don't definitely need that much. One of the other things that kind of annoys me with this guy, and I liked it better on the old Power of the Force figure, was that it had both its arms. Now, I guess this is probably correct from what I can see in stills in the movies, that this sleeve was always covered, but it's kind of just a pain in the butt to know that you got one arm out, and in order to have him hold the staff properly, I actually had to flip his hand upside down to get the right angle, otherwise it just didn't work properly. But overall, like this, the paint job on the helmet piece, it's good. It's got a nice reflective plastic to it. The black for the visor is even, so you can't really complain there, but really it's just a sea of red. So just looking at it like this, it does the service if you're going to use it in a diorama. You can really kind of move around a lot of this fabric as much as you can. If you want to be a little more tapered, you could by pulling it back. But overall, if you're just looking at the figure this way, it's serviceable, but you're not going to get a lot of cool action poses or anything out of it. It's just a lot of soft goods, almost a little bit too much. So he does come with his typical Imperial Royal Guard or Emperor's Royal Guard staff. Now, where it gets good is underneath the soft goods, and you get the armor. So I believe this has, you can slide it over a little bit here to get a more of a cape kind of idea. You can pop the head off too of this guy, but I'm just going to do it this way to, it kind of looks a little cooler with having the cape on too. So I believe this follows more the expanded universe or Legends version of the Royal Guard. I never followed it myself with the comics, but I believe it's an actual character name, so I'm just going to fix the feet there. but seriously, when you display him this way, he looks cool. The armor is really awesome, and the paint jobs are very well done here. For Black Series figure, the guy is actually surprisingly jacked. Really thick arms, which I don't know if this is more of a character thing or whatnot, but I'm not familiar with the character itself. Not the Emperor Royal Guard, but the actual character that the armor piece is melded after for Black Series. This reminds me a lot of the figure that was released for the Vintage Collection for the Emperor's Royal Guard that came with all the additional features, and I believe there's another head sculpt to it too, which I feel like would be really neat here. He also comes with this tiny little blaster, which reminds me of the Scout Trooper blaster for the Biker Scouts. You know what? Doesn't really hold it that well. It's kind of a tiny gun for his hands. You know what? We'll just put this back in the holster. Overall, though, like once you move the robe out of the way and make it more of kind of a cape, or like I said, you pop off his head, this character is a lot cooler now, and this figure itself is looks a lot better made, and that you can do a lot more with it. You get the staff in two hands. I guess it goes this way. It's almost a force pike or something like that. I can't remember what it's called, but you can definitely get a lot more done with him. Just a really neat figure. I think they did a good job with this guy, and it's definitely one that if you are looking to pick him up, 100% open him. I would not suggest keeping this guy in the package just because you're not seeing all of this and all the armor, and that's pretty much where all the details on this figure are. It comes in the armor side of things, so you're definitely doing yourself a disservice if you really like to see the details of the figures, even if they are boxed up. Just gonna pop this through here so we can stand up there. His feet are kind of a pain in the butt here, but it's just the way he was packaged. He was wrapped with like elastics on his feet. I guess they're just a little loose. But yeah, honestly, this guy is a lot cooler looking like this than he was actually in the package. And as for articulation, it's exactly what you're going to expect from a Black Series figure. You have your swivels up at the shoulders, or sorry, the ball joints at the shoulders. Your swivel joints here at the arms. Again, your typical single joint, ball hinge joint by the looks of it, but it's not a double joint like you get in most of the legs on these guys. And yeah, you still get the double joint at the knee, and then some ankle rotation as well here. And then he's got the ab crunch, limited ab crunch. The only thing you're gonna get to, or really not that, or sorry, restricted on is what I'm looking to say, is the head movement. It's probably going to be quite a bit better if you take the cape off and you don't just have it crammed under there, because it actually is a really tight fit once I've moved it over here. But I don't think I would pop it off. I just kind of like the look of the cape with this figure. But honestly, overall, I like this guy. He's pretty cool, especially once you open him up in the box, as I've said a few times already. Not the best, but yeah, that's my pretty quick review of the Imperial Royal Guard. I guess they're not calling him Emperor's Royal Guard on this box. It's Imperial Royal Guard. But yeah, so thanks for watching, and I'm not sure what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below. If you have this figure, are you looking for this figure? Hell, have you been able to find him? I just found him recently, and this is number 38 in the Black Series, so obviously right now I think we're close to the 60s in that, so it took a very long time for me to find him locally, but I'm glad I did, and it's going to make a pretty good addition to my collection. Thanks a lot.